I would like to welcome you to our very first internship panel session. We have quite a few of our second year students that have successfully gone through an internship. And today, the way this will work out is we'll do a quick 30 to 35 minute Q&A with our second year students who have completed a successful internship. So we're going to ask them a question each. Each of them will answer it separately if it applies to them. And after that, we'll have 15 to 20 minutes just for you to ask questions. I highly recommend that as we go along, if something comes up and you feel like you want to ask somebody else is talking, just go ahead and write the question down and have that ready to go for the Q&A afterwards. And then Christy will give a quick 5-minute speech on the registration process if you are interested in registering your internship next summer. And at the end, we'll just have a quick closing and that will be it. So let's get started with the first question. Well, actually, first, I'd like to have each of the participants introduce themselves. Just your name, where you interned, just a reminder, and just the title of what you were doing at your company. Anybody? Let's start with Jacob.
Okay, yeah, my name's Jacob. I'm obviously in second year, and this summer I interned with Fiat Chrysler Automotives. The internship was virtual because of COVID and everything. I mean, it was last minute we found out that it was going to switch that way, so it was really interesting to see how fast the company that big responded to a situation like that. So.
All right. Kelly?
Yeah, my name is Kelly Alvarez. I'm a second year student, and my internship was at Tesla, the Palo Alto office, but I did it here from Phoenix. It was remotely as well.
What was the position? Did you?
Program manager. I work as a program manager for the hardware infotainment team.
Okay, sweet. Ampofo?
Hello, everybody. My name is Ampofo Mensah Jr. I'm a second year student in the MGM program. Over the summer, I interned with the UN Global Compact, the local USA network, the organization responsible for uniting the United States businesses in sustainability and sustainable development goals. I was an associate intern where I performed a number of marketing tasks and Excel kind of analytics work.
Okay. Hye Rin?
Hi everyone, I'm Hye Rin. I'm a second year MGM student here at Thunderbird, and I did my summer internship at Semiconductor, which is a company headquartered here in Phoenix. And my internship role was in HR. I was part of the People, Culture, and Excellence team, which was within the umbrella of Global HR. And my internship was also virtual as well.
Sweet. We have our last but not least. Wait, let me make sure he's here. Yeah, yep, he's still here.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Brillarch, but you can call me Bryce. I have a virtual internship with Office of the Mayor, MOYO. It's Mayor's Office for Economic Opportunities in Los Angeles. My role is an SDG initiative intern.
Sweet. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump into our first question here, and feel free, anybody, to jump in. No specific order. If it doesn't apply to you, that's okay. What do you wish somebody would have told you prior to interviewing, prior to any of that, prior to actually getting the internship? Any advice? Jacob. Okay, let's start again with the same order.
All right, yeah. So prior to my internship, I think there's some really interesting, when I was doing my interview process, especially, something that kind of came up during that is just kind of to be authentic is what I kind of heard back from like kind of some of the feedback, and that was something that was really interesting to hear. And how important that is to when you go into that interview to just be yourself. I know it could be, I know it could be, the confidence you're like, oh, I don't know how I'm doing. I mean, even in my own interview, like when I finished my own interview, I thought I had bombed it. I was like, that sucked. Like I definitely failed that. Like, I guess it's a learning opportunity. But then at the end of the day, they came back and were like, oh no, we really enjoyed talking to you. We could tell that you were authentic and you were, genuinely, your knowledge, and you had done your research to go into that internship. And I guess that's kind of the two things there. Is the second thing is to do research about the company. I walked into my interview and I had a whole page of typed out notes and questions and just like little things to know about, because obviously I did mine with Fiat Chrysler. Chrysler Fiat has 14 brands that they manage. Well, that's quite a big, and not knowing that beforehand, if I would have went in and be like, yeah, no, you guys make Dodge and Jeep, right? And they're like, if that's all you know about our company, that could be, can show that you haven't really prepped for that interview. So doing prep work, having questions, being ready for whatever kind of they throw at you is definitely a helpful tool. I know some people say, oh, you should never take notes into an interview. I mean, I think it just shows them, I think what it did was actually showed them that I was willing to do the work I was willing to put in the work to be prepared for that interview. So those are my two big takeaways.
You're on mute, Jessica.
All right. Yeah, I was just saying who wants to go next. Just because I don't want to call on you if it doesn't. I mean, I feel like everybody should have an answer, but Bryce?
Can I jump in?
Or Kelly? Yeah, or Kelly.
Yeah, I think, well, I'm an international student, so there, and you know that there is this foundation or Thunderbird that begins in the summer. And I was in Colombia while doing, and I didn't understand anything. Like what Angelique and then I didn't understand anything. and then when I got here in August, it didn't help me out. And but I think it's really, for international students, it's a long process. And something that I learned now, it's that trust on this process, that CMC is guiding you, and trust also in yourself and your skills, your own abilities. And as Jacob said, be yourself, your authentic self will work out. And the other thing is resilience. Resilience is so important. I've heard so many no's during the process, like so many. In August, I didn't, like in the fall semester, 2019, I went to National Black in Houston, Prospanica in Orlando. I went to all the ASU, CMC information sessions, and etc. And I just received no after no. And then I was just, I'm not gonna make it. And then on spring as well, it was the same thing. But the resiliency is that is, even if don't break, like it's not gonna break you. All the notes that you will hear here, it's not gonna break you. You have to take the lessons learned and just apply in the next interview that you will have, or in the next resume that you will send out, with all the optimism and with all the positivism that you will find in yourself. And that is what made me through the last interview that I had with Tesla. I was so confident that I just pictured myself doing so great in that interview that I just nailed it.
I think I definitely agree with that. When I was at Prospanica and I went into the interview with ExxonMobil, from the very beginning, I thought to myself that they were never going to hire me. So to me, that was just practice, because I have imposter syndrome. So I went in there with all the confidence in the world, because to me, this was just for fun. There's like, they're never actually going to hire me. Like, why would they do that? So I think kind of switching your attitude into that, going in, thinking that, yes, you care a lot, you may care a lot about this company and you really, really want to work for them, but pretend like you don't. Pretend like this is just for practice, show up confident, do your research like Jacob just mentioned, and everything will be okay. If anything, I feel like the biggest mistake I made and that I wish somebody would have told me, and I think people did that exact day, that you can't think of any job like I was back then. They really, yes, they care about qualifications, yes, they care about certain things on paper, but they really are there just to see if they would actually enjoy working with you. And I didn't believe that at first when I heard it, but it's true. I mean, yeah, some people, even some of my supervisors this summer, their previous experience was not in finance. They did not have finance degrees, and they're all successful managers now, years later. So yeah, kind of going in with a different attitude will make all the difference. Ampofo?
Yeah, I'll chime in. Just to piggyback off of, that kind of resilience that Kelly spoke to. I think I wish I took the global organizational consulting course before my internship experience, because I felt like my manager wanted me to be a consultant, provide recommendations in every project that I did. They wanted my insights. They wanted me to create then a standard operating procedure documents to make sure that I was, leaving a footprint of the work that I was doing for potentially the next person. So pretty much not being afraid to, present my ideas and to just get outside the box, because within the virtual experience, that's kind of what management was asking of me. This was something that was new for them, and it was new for me. So nothing was out of bounds, even though I feared things were kind of like out of bounds. I had to stick within the lines, but I was never reprimanded for things that I did that pushed a pen or doing above and beyond extra research. It always benefits.
Hearing?
Yeah, so I'm just like Kelly. I'm an international student. And as an international student, you would need work authorization to be employed and get paid by your employer. So in my case, I had to apply for CPT, which is work authorization granted to students while they're still in school. So while they're still enrolled. And that meant I had to reach out to my academic advisor, Christy here, and ISSC to find more information on the whole application process. I would actually recommend attending either the CPT or OPT workshops that ISSC has for students all throughout the semester, just so that you're familiar with the timeline of when to apply for the documents and even some of the rules that might apply to you. For me, I actually landed my internship with Semiconductor in spring of 2020, but I had to postpone it and I wasn't able to start until summer of 2020 because as an international student, you have to do one full academic year and then you're eligible to apply for CPT. So I just encourage attending one of those workshops just so you know about the CPT application process.
Awesome. We're going to move to the second question, but I'll let Bryce get us started on that one. So what was the interview process or the interview itself for you?
For me, it was really awesome. So apart from what we did, research, connecting with the right people, the guidance of CMC, Helen, Matthew, Christina, and everyone else, it was smooth for me because I already know what I have to do. The STAR model that has been taught in Thunderbird, it's really awesome. All you have to do is to put in all the details from S, T, A, and R, and then from every situation that that you have encountered in your life and your background experiences, your professional experience, your background, just go for it and then answer it with confidence. You may think that, oh my God, I feel like I'm really nervous because I told to my interviewer, I'm terrible at interviews. I'm so sorry if I would stutter, but I'll do my best. And then she smiled. Okay, I am hoping that you're going to do your best. That's what we did. I mean, it was smooth for me. We're just like talking as friends, and then after 48 hours, congratulations.
Amazing. What kinds of questions did they ask you, or?
One of the questions that I could vividly remember is, tell me what would be your advantage in other applicants. So that's one question that I could answer. And then I said, well, I am a veterinary surgeon. I could give a different perspective from what you're looking at. I have taken core courses from Thunderbird, data analytics. Our school is very much inclined to fourth industrial revolution, big data. And then I have told all of them, I know Tableau, I know advanced Excel. We do SPSS and Python. So I think that tickled the interest of the interviewer.
Very nice. Kelly, can you tell us what your interview was like with Tesla?
Okay. So, to be honest, you can apply to Tesla to all the positions that you find out. I applied to 2 positions. One is supply chain, global supply chain manager intern, and the other one as a program manager intern. So the first interview I failed. And that was for the global supply manager position. Like I felt really bad. But you know what? I think it was because, so I don't know, Angelique maybe will say something on Matthew, but I really, if you are gonna do a mock interview, really pay attention to who is gonna interview you, like who is gonna prep you, because I received a really bad feedback from that mock interview before the interview that I was gonna have with the first position at Tesla, that broke my confidence. And then when I got the interview, I was like failed, like really bad. And then, but thankfully, like the second position that I applied for, I was just had to work on my confidence again. And on the second position, I remember it's just for Tesla, for internship at Tesla, you only have 2 interviews. One with your mentor, who's gonna be your leader, and the second one with the manager of your leader. So, and that's it. And then for the, they ask me about my experience. They always will ask you about your experience, detail oriented, like really detail on your experience, your background. And you have to be really conscious about your stories that you will tell that match the job position with your stories. And they will dig into those details, and that's it.
Awesome, thank you. Hye Rin?
Yeah, so for me, I submitted my application online, and I think it was about like 2 weeks later, I got an email saying that I would need to complete a phone interview if I was interested in moving forward with my application process. And so I said I was interested. And the person that first interviewed me was actually somebody within global HR, but was located overseas. So I talked to somebody in the Belgium corporate office, and it was done through the company's main communication platform, which is WebEx. And I don't remember all the specific questions that were asked, but it was general. So on introductions, why I'm interested in the role, followed by any questions I had for the interviewer. So just as Kelly mentioned, I did my homework, just reading up about the company, going over my resume, going over the job descriptions, and actually looking up my interviewer on LinkedIn to see if I can frame any questions specific to what he does at the company, and just bring up any like common areas. And I think my phone interview was in total like 40 minutes. And how I prepped for this phone interview was I had a mock phone interview session through the CMC to get some practicing in and receive feedback. So I would really encourage that. And then soon afterwards, I got an email for an on-site interview with all the employees' name who would be interviewing me. And that was in total 4 employees, all within global HR. But for the on-site interview, they actually wanted me to present on a past project I've worked on that aligns with the current job opportunities for the role that I was applying for. So I actually prepared a PowerPoint and I presented for about 15 minutes, followed by a 45-minute interview. And the interview was like a mix of questions. Some were straight from my resume asking what my experience was like working in that specific role. I also remember getting interviews that were like behavioral questions. So I made sure to have a few star stories like specific to like certain topics like communication, project management, conflict resolution, and teamwork. And something that works for me, if STAR is too many like letters to remember, there's also PAR, P-A-R. So that's like problem, action, result. It's like one less acronym to remember, if that helps. So that was my process.
Ampofo?
All right. So the Global Compact Network USA is very new. I was actually the first intern of the local network, and they kind of weren't going to have a summer internship. It was not something that was created or fleshed out. But my experience working with the Thunderbird for Good office, who garnered the partnership with the Global Compact early in the year, that helped me gain visibility within the outputs of the program, doing a lot of behind the scenes tasks and understanding what Thunderbird's role was going to be with the Global Compact. My engagement director, Adam Gordon, made the application available to all of the business school students in the United States, but he didn't want to interview me. He told me he wanted me to work for him. That's what happened for me. And it was because of my progressiveness when I got to Thunderbird, wanting to partner with Thunderbird for Good, who I saw got the partnership with the Global Compact earlier on in the year before I came to Thunderbird. So if you operate in that way, if you're like 10 steps ahead, probably reaching out to the people who you potentially want to work with on LinkedIn and building with them and, going to these informational sessions, you will, award yourself, better visibility. And a lot of these situations could be potentially who you know. And I think for me, the work that I put in and who I knew garnered me my internship.
Okay. Somebody also asked me earlier if we had case studies during the interview. I personally didn't have that, and I've heard of nobody. Did any of you have to do that, a case study?
Yeah, I had to do one interview was a case study, and then it was for a corporate manager leadership position, and that was in Prospanica. And then it was just it was this guy introduced me different statistics, or what would you do if we are gonna launch this product, what information do you need. So I said, okay, I need this information. Then they told me, okay, this is this histogram or the last information about those products, what would you do, and then do calculations. And it was paper after paper, and then I have to take decisions over that. I passed that interview, but then they interviewed me again, and then on spring, it was like a long process. And then I got the Tesla thing, and I was like, oh, this is
Yeah. Perfect. I guess somebody asked another question. Just really quick, how do you build, I guess, relationships? How do you network with people on LinkedIn? Yeah, I remember the CMC definitely even showed us a template of some sort. So I'll try to see if I can find that. And if anybody from the CMC can remember that I think that was really helpful. We had a speaker who walked us through that. She was amazing. I think it was the same person that has already taught I can't remember her name, but she was great. And yeah, so let's go to the next question. Or actually before that, so I have, yeah, go ahead.
She she says to
Maria.
maintain a relationship. And really, if you're aligned in a particular field or sector, you know, your experience is pretty much how you open the door. Like, hey, I'm into sustainability. This is what I've been focusing on, you know, the past 5 years of my life. This is the projects that I've done. How can I gain more insights on, you know, potentially getting to your level or partaking in some of the initiatives that you're a part of? You know, things like that will never hurt you.
Also, another good question that I was wondering as well from international students, and I know internationals were, what companies do you recommend to apply to for international students? I think that's a good one. Of those that you know that will hire international students. I know we know ON and Tesla are two already. Any others?
I would also say when you're applying either on Handshake or going through InterestRide to really use the advanced feature to filter out like companies that do give out like sponsorship. That's like one way to narrow it down. Yeah, but definitely on hires international students.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't even know about that. So there we go. Moving on to our last question that we prepared. So what were some of the things that you did to prepare for the interview? Yeah, whether international student or not, just kind of the two perspectives, if there are any major differences. And we can start with Bryce.
There's a reason why we have core courses in Thunderbird. So for me, it's the global negotiations and the cultural with Professor Leclerc and Javidan. And then there's also analytics. So those two are my two major courses that I love because I have used them completely in my internship. So for instance, in my case, I have connected with different people, different professional background, different academic institutions, UCLA, Occidental College, and USC. And of course, they have different cultural perspectives. So all you have to do is to connect with them, and of course, to form like an organization that could work together with one goal and with unity. So it's more like diversity and unity. And then in my case, so since we are inclined to 4IR, we know how to do data analytics, visualization. I'm the only one in the team who could use that. So it's one of your advantage. You can make use of that. From different numbers in Excel, all you have to do is to plot that in Tableau and then tell them, these are the insights that I have gathered, or we could present this to our clients. And by that thing, you could leverage your experience, could leverage your own talent and rise, and be outstanding from all of the other members.
Nice. Let's go next. Hye Rin?
Yeah, so the question was how did you prepare for the internship, or is it how did you prepare for the interview?
For the interview, whether it was, for the interview, your first day at the internship, or as an international student.
Yeah, for me, for the interview, I've never had a phone interview before. So I definitely used the mock sessions through the CMC to really register for one and to really practice with the T-Bird alum. Doing that, and also I think it was already mentioned by Ampofo and Kelly, but really reaching out, leveraging your LinkedIn network and asking for an informational interview with somebody that works within the company, preferably like within the department that you want to work in. I think that's also like one way to do that.
Awesome. I was just typing up something. So I just remember the CMC shared with us a sheet last year that had dozens of questions that interviewers can potentially ask, as well as questions that we can ask them at the end. And I think that worksheet was extremely helpful for me, given that I had never had a real life interview before. I had never engaged with any kind of recruiter ever. So that I think if we could share that as well, that would be very helpful.
For me, I think attending a number of the national conferences and making sure I did multiple mock interviews, making sure I did other interviews outside of the CMCs or handshake, just to prepare myself. I was always, spewing out the I'm a natural problem solver, Jamin Patel language at every point, and mastering that, just having the same go-to type of language that I always, present in the interviews. That makes me comfortable. It truly hasn't failed me. Just having that energy, just following that how to be a rock star text. I read that frequently because it truly does work. And body language, tone, these things truly matter. If you know what you're saying, if it's your story, all you got to do is tell your story.
Jacob? You kind of give us a little bit of info on the, yeah, go ahead. Just how you prepared.
Yeah, kind of like I kind of already answered all three of these questions the first time around, but yeah, I mean, it was prep work, find out about the company, do your due diligence, don't walk in there and shoot from the hip. If you show that you put the prep work in, I think it shows the company and your interviewer. Actually, funny enough, my interviewer, I walked in and he had a copy of my resume already, and I had a copy of his resume. And his first question to me was, what do you think it tells me that your copy of your resume is black and white and mine's in color? That's the level of detail that he was looking at and he could see. Now, this individual who I'm talking about is just highly detail oriented like that. But, and he's seeing what I'm going to respond with. And I was just like, well, I didn't have access to a colored printer. And that was my response. And he was like, frugal, I like it. And then we went on, so there is this, sometimes some interviewers will have that kind of level of detail. And I mean, he was able to notice that my link, that was it. Just the link to my email was different colors between his and mine. And that's the and so that's kind of to show you you need to be ready for those kind of possible situations of what details are they looking at, and show that you have those same details or you're able to identify those details, So I'd say that's a big part of the interview too.
Awesome. I also highly recommend the website that ASU has set up for interview prep. I definitely used that a few times just because not only had I never had a real interview, I had also never done a video interview. So going on that website, you were able to choose from a wide, interview stream. Thank you, Angelique. A wide range of categorized questions that they could possibly ask you, and you get to record yourself like Hye just recommended, which was really, really helpful because I could immediately tell what I had done wrong right away. And then you also get feedback from them. Somebody goes on and they watch your video and tell you what you could improve upon. So that was really helpful as well. Let's see, another question that somebody had to drop, but they would like to know the answer to this. What are some of the pros and cons of virtual internships, and how do you network with people while remotely?
I'll start. The cons was, I kind of felt like I was on my own and I didn't get a chance to familiarize myself with everybody in the office, the team that I would be working with. So a lot of emails felt like another introduction, and a lot of emails took probably a day and a half to get a response back. So it's just really about being patient and trying to learn on the fly and pick people's brain. Like if you don't reach out to individuals, whether the organizations will have a Microsoft Teams set up or a Slack channel set up, if you don't reach out to the people who you're going to work with, they're really not going to reach out to you how fast the summer does go. So just be proactive in reaching out to people, because it will be tough, feeling like you are a part of the team, but you really aren't. unless like projects actually materialize and then you're actually able to present the projects, then it feels like, all right, I'm a part of this organization. But man, virtual world, it sucks, I'm gonna be honest.
I second that. Bryce?
In my case, we are 5 in the team. One lives in New York, the other traveled in Europe. So we have to find one certain time to have a virtual meeting. And we have set it on, if I'm not mistaken, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Arizona time. So you're going to work from 8 a.m. and then 8 to 5. And then by 8 p.m. in Arizona, you're going to have a virtual meeting. So that's the thing. So that's a problem with remote internship. So you can't control your meeting, but you can control your work hours. So all you have to do is be devoted because you were selected for this. They believed in your capacity. So try to give your best to them, and you would leave a very good impression that you have a work ethic.
Hye Rin?
Yeah, I would definitely echo that. And also, I think just being intentional, like use all the communication channels. It doesn't always have to be video, or it doesn't always have to be email. There's also chat. And I know in my team, we use Microsoft Teams. And so just taking the time like throughout the day or even throughout the week to just have a casual conversation, but also like bring up questions that are relevant to some of the projects that you're involved in, or even the projects that other people are involved in, just to let them know that you're curious, that you have a learning mindset, that you're looking for opportunities.
Yeah. Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, working virtually is definitely hard to network. You're not able to just walk by somebody or see them in the hallway and to have that quick 15-second, 20-second, just, hey, how's your day going? And get to know people. So it definitely did make it more challenging. During my internship, the FCA did do a pretty good job of setting up times to where we could have kind of like I had interaction times with my mentor, with the staff, or my immediate staff and whatnot, and I interacted with them a lot. Then we also was able to kind of reach out to a few other people within the company, and just have a quick conversation with them about what do they do, what's their kind of situation like. So it definitely is a lot harder to do. I didn't stress too much about it. I kind of didn't push the issue as much as maybe I should have. But I don't think it hurt me in the long run either. I think that your immediate impact in your team is kind of the most important. And then if you're able to get out and do some networking outside of that, it definitely helps. But it's not a be all end all for sure. So.
Kelly? Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, I think everyone has said, but it's about using all the tools in my team. My team, we were around 13 or 15 people, and they were all awesome. So the first week I scheduled one-on-one meetings with each one of them. And I also scheduled a recurring meetings with my mentor and my manager. And I scheduled a mid-term review with my manager, mentor, and the final review. And then I created a Microsoft group team with all the interns. And at the end, it was like more than 200 interns in that chat that I created as soon as I started. And I created many groups in the Microsoft team, and everyone was involved because everyone wanted to be in touch with in a remote thing. So then I leveraged that. Like, well, I'm gonna create this group, and I'm gonna set up all the meetings with everyone. Every time I had a meeting with an outsider or a cross-functional team, I just I was interested in his experience or his role or her role. I wanna chat with you like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and I just schedule meetings with everyone.
Yep, I second that. So during my summer internship with Exxon, at first I wasn't being shy necessarily, but I wasn't sure if it was okay to just send the invite or if I had to email first to ask. And so in the beginning, I kind of started asking and to kind of just catch up, like anybody that I had interacted with prior to actually getting the interview and getting the internship, anybody at all that I met from this company before, I wrote their name down. And once I got there, I looked them up on the system. And then I started reaching out just to say that I'm here. Hi, trying to see how you are doing. What's your position now? Trying to learn more about what they are doing right now, just to show that you really care and you're interested. So I kept doing that constantly. I think at the beginning, midpoint, and then in the end. And so with every conversation I had with all of these people, even though I wasn't working with them, I could tell that they really appreciated that. And there was also a few times where we were having these just random chit chat about whatever I was doing. And they would just offer to set up an additional, like a follow-up meeting to help you with whatever you were doing. If you need me to like listen in, I've set through intern final presentations, so I can give you all the pointers. I mean, so much support came from just having the initiative to reach out to everyone, regardless of whether you're working with them directly or not over the summer. So that was really helpful. Let's see, did I miss anyone? Sorry, I kind of jumped in. I think we got everyone for that question. So I think at this time, we are going to open up for any additional questions that we had not planned for. Just go ahead and unmute yourself. No need to put it in the chat.
Hi there. Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
How did you go about talking with companies that maybe you weren't 100% sure you wanted to work with them in the long run? However, their internship was very geared towards grooming you for a full-time position. How did you navigate those conversations? And then if you did take on an internship with a company like that, what was the outcome for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so, yeah, and 2 or 3 weeks before I was gonna, well, first of all, have weekly meetings with your mentor, your leader, and your manager, and show all what you have done every time, even if all what you have done. And then when you are in that, like 3 weeks before ending the internship, make sure to have that conversation with your leader. And then, well, I have done, starting with what you have done, what you have excelled during the 10 or 11 weeks that you have been working with them, and then show interest in any particular position, that even if it's in the same team or other team, and then you will have an answer with that. And that's how I did it. And I will have tomorrow a meeting with my mentor. So make sure as well that after your internship finish, even if you don't receive a full-time job position, your full-time offer 2 weeks after you end, keep the conversation with your mentor or the team member that you have been part of, and make sure that just to continue the networking with them. That's how I'm doing that.
Did anyone else have that experience? Something similar?
Just make everything personal. I wouldn't tell, one company about, oh, I have 3 other offers, unless it's like really truly pressing and you have a deadline to meet and you want to be professional about it. There's a way to write that out professionally. So, right, I think you should just keep it personal, be passionate, speak to what the organization is doing, speak to how that's aligned with your trajectory, and where you see yourself, because it's about the skills that you want to garner. You know, and it's a give and take. You know, they want something from you and you want something from them. I don't think that you need to disclose that that you willing to be a part of the company in the future, but that does look good.
Yeah, I'm gonna also share my experience. So for me, during the interview itself, like the interviewer straight up told me, we like to hire people who are with us for the long run. And he emphasized, we have employees, almost anybody that you talk to, they've been working with us for years, 20, 30, almost 40 years. And so this is what we're looking for. And it was said over and over again. And like I said, to me, my imposter syndrome just didn't, like, that thought in the back of my head saying, okay, yeah, but I don't think you're going to hire me anyway. Even though I would have loved, like in my head, I wanted to work for them. I still had that thought. So the way it worked out for me was that once I was at the site doing the internship, those conversations kind of came up here and there. But once it came down to the final day and they actually extended the offer, they were very understanding and, emphasized to me that I don't have to accept, like, you shouldn't feel pressured. In fact, my manager was like, I still recommend, that once you leave, like, that you still go out there and, take a look at other options. Would love to have you, but, don't feel pressured at all. So that was a really, really good thing for them to say, because I was going to take it anyway. I already knew by the end that I wanted to work for them. But if I had a different attitude, I think, that was very nice of them. Any other questions?
I was going to actually piggy off
Okay.
that question.
Yeah,
So when you're doing your interview, I think it's important to keep in mind that your internship does not have to be if I do this internship, I have to take this job and this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 30 years. I'm very much under the impression of building experiences and saying yes to as many opportunities that come my way. So for me, saying yes to that internship was just a building block into where do I want to go in my career path? Where do I want to end up? And I think that's important to remember when you are doing an internship or when you're looking for things, or even, like, I'm going to be like, I'll be honest, like, if I take this job or whatever, if I do the internship, I take a job, I might not stay there for 4 or 5 years. Like, I want to see, where can I go next? What's going to be the next step? If the company doesn't value in that same long, like, ladder climbing steps as that I do, then I'm going to leave that company and go find something else. So, I mean, I don't think about anything being long-term. Like, this is it. If I take this job, this is where I'm going to be for the next 30 years. I can't go anywhere else. That opportunity to leave and go somewhere else is always out there. But it is also, just saying yes to the opportunity in the first place could be that learning curve that you needed to just put yourself in position to make that next step into the bigger and better position that's coming up. So I think that's a good way to also think about it, is like, yeah.
I think a lot of us had probably experiences that we were able to pivot from. I had 2 internship experiences that fell through. These were amazing internship experiences that I was looking forward to the second round of interviews, but COVID actually came and put a damper on both of those opportunities. So I was fortunate that I had applied to some more internships, that I had more interviews to come, and this was around March, April. So continue to apply. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yep. In the chat, someone asked if any of us had internships in marketing. So I don't believe any of us did, unfortunately. I did interview for a marketing position. I don't know if anyone else did, that we can maybe talk about that instead.
I mean,
Any
I
marketing?
get it asked. What's the specific question? Like,
They just want to know, yeah, I guess they need to elaborate on that. They just asked if we have had an internship in marketing.
you
I
know,
definitely have.
having the marketing skills, they're good, but it needs to be part of the other skills. I don't know what positions are going to be solely related in marketing, unless you just want to do like Salesforce and Pardot and stuff like that. Those are CRMs that I had an opportunity to use. And Tableau was mentioned. These kinds of CRMs, it'll be really good if you have them under your belt, because a lot of the organizations are transitioning. A lot of them are transforming some of their systems, and they want some of these CRMs to use.
Good. Yeah, here
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Okay, my question is basically to Rin. I don't know whether I mentioned the name right, but I also had my undergraduate program in HR, and there are times that you're applying for opportunities and they'll be like, HR is kind of the big umbrella, they are SAPs within, so you have to be specific what you want. But there are times that you're applying for a job opportunity, and though they are asking for a longer period of experience, and I may not have internship experience in HR in specific, but maybe in areas like human relations or something. So I wanted to ask how you're able to, your advice to anyone who wants to major in HR, yeah, something like that. So any advice on how to secure internship opportunities, and either you're supposed to be specific or just be open-minded about it.
Sorry, Andrea, to speak to you, there's something that I learned this past year about interviews and my experiences, about things that you see 5 years, 10 years experience. You have a life's worth of experiences, whether it been in the churches or your local community, family. You know, you've held leadership roles. You've done different things. It's just about changing your story, making your story aligned with some of the work that you've done, and that'll show, you know, how passionate you are. I was able to draw upon the random, some random things that they weren't work, actual like jobs, but these are experiences where, you know, potentially I was in a leadership role, or potentially I was volunteering, and you can draw from those experiences, these life experiences, and, you know, word them accordingly. That's why it's really going to be important how you know, get these star stories in order, so that every interview you have is going to be the same. You're going to be like a robot once you truly master your life story, your experiences, and everything that you've done.
Hye Rin, did you want to answer that question?
Yeah, I'll answer that, Andrea. Hi. I did my internship in HR management at On Semiconductor, and part of the reason why I am interested in going into HR is just like the big aspect of people and culture. And I think when you have such a broad internship like HR management, you have just so many opportunities to learn about like the different departments, especially if you're working for a global company. So I think just making that very clear in your interview, or even when you join the team, just voicing out like, hey, there is diversity and inclusion in HR. There's organizational and development in HR. There's learning and development in HR, or there's like payroll and benefits in HR. Like, what is it about HR that you're interested in? Or just even showing that you would want to dabble in like a little bit of everything and like learn from the employees there. I think just like showing that you're very curious and willing to learn is like a big step, and wanting to figure out what you want to do, or at least that was the case for me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ampofo. Thanks, Rin.
Any other questions? The floor is open to you guys, so just unmute yourself. Don't be shy. We are running out of time, so speak now.
So I've been applying the internships online through the website the whole time, and I attend both national job fair as well. I'm just thinking that I feel like it's really very limited chance for the HR to really look my resume or like to set up an interview, because I've been applying a lot online. So I'm just thinking that should I just focus on to work, like talk to more alum that whoever worked there before, and then to have more connection with the company rather than just I apply only by myself online? Because I feel like that's a very not like too much chance for really the HR look at the my resume and also set an interview.
And my experience, and I went to National Black and Prospanica last year. That was in person, and this year as well that was remote. And as an international student, it was the same. For me, the only difference that was that in National Black and Orlando last year, they I received the notes in person, because that was it. So this time was better because at least I was in my computer and I didn't feel anything. But last year it was just, oh my God, it was painful. It was heartbroken. and then the only thing that they said, it was like, oh, you have like 5 minutes or 3 minutes to give an impression. And there are 100 people behind you that are willing to connect with them as well. So I think at the end, it's, the strategy that worked better for me, it was to connect through LinkedIn with alumni from Thunderbird and just ask for 10 minutes one-on-one with them. And that, for me, that worked better. Like, it was what worked for me. And but at the same time, I don't think it was a waste of time having all these rejections and all these National Black or career fairs, because that prepared me for those conversations that I had with those alumni, because I had clear, I could have a better understanding what the companies were looking for, the job positions that I wanna apply for, and narrow down my my search. So that's how it helped me submitting all the resumes online, going to the career fairs. But then with that experience, I was, okay, I need now to talk with these people, like in more strategically. So both, you have to do both at the end.
Thank you so much for that. Just to be respectful of everyone's time, we're definitely out, and I want to give Christy a chance to give her spiel about registration really quick. Thank you so much for all the panelists for answering these questions and for everybody that participated and asked questions today. If you do want to learn more, feel free to hit us up on LinkedIn, any of us. We will answer any additional questions, but we will have another session about just the internship itself, kind of a part 2. So you can attend that as well. And Christy also has a survey that we would love for you to complete if you have the time. And I will give it over to Christy.
Thank you so much. I won't take too much of your time, but I did want to plant the seed that internships can be registered for elective credit. If you're an international student, you actually have to register your internship for credit, and we can talk about the options as we approach that time of year where we're registering for summer classes. But basically you have a couple different choices: registering for 1 credit, registering for 3. It can be used as towards an elective. If you're a domestic student, you don't have to, but we do have quite a few students that were domestic that chose to register their internships simply for the advantage of getting some credits out of the way to lighten up the load later on during, for example, last semester when you're job searching, which is really a full-time job in itself. If you want more information, I did include the link a little bit earlier on Canvas under the academic advising page. You can get more information. And of course, please feel free to reach out to me directly, especially once you get to that point where you have an offer letter in hand. I can kind of walk you, point you in the right direction and walk you through those steps. That's it. We will have a more in-depth session in the spring about this. So thank you.
Right. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget about the survey and have a great rest of the week.
Thank you very much.